Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Joshua Bridwell Show. This is the podcast where I talk about your personal, professional, and spiritual growth, and where we talk about your stories to help you go from stuck to growth. I am your host, Joshua Bridwell, and today is an episode for you if you've ever felt stuck, overwhelming, or if you find yourself pushing things off until the last minute. Today, I'm going to be tackling one of the biggest setbacks to growth, whether that's personal, professional, whether that's spiritual. This is going to get in the way of you and success. And I'm talking about procrastination. And procrastination is something that can really get in the way of you reaching your full potential. And today we're going to be breaking it down. We're going to understand why it is that we procrastinate, and more importantly, what you can do to overcome procrastination in your daily life. So I want you to stay with me until the end, because I'm going to give you an actionable challenge that will help you to take immediate control of procrastination in your life. So before we jump to solutions, we need to dive into what procrastination really is, because it's not just laziness. And that's what it really gets attached to in our society is, oh, you're not going to get off the couch to go put clothes away immediately. It's deeper than that. It's a psychological response to stress, fear, or in some cases, perfectionism. So studies from Piers Steele, a leading researcher in the area of procrastination, indicates that procrastination is deeply linked to impulsivity and lack of self-regulation. So in his studies, he found that 20% of adults are chronic procrastinators, and nearly 95% admit to procrastinating at some point. So many of us will procrastinate because we either fear failure, so we avoid the task entirely. We get overwhelmed by big projects, and we might not know where to start. We don't often feel motivated in the moment, so we wait for inspiration to strike. That hardly ever works. And we'd rather do something easier and more immediately rewarding. We've talked about delayed gratification before on this podcast. And like I said, we'd rather do something easier and more immediately rewarding. This is known as temporal discounting. It's choosing immediate gratification over long-term benefits. And what we know from neuroscience is that it tells us procrastination is linked to the prefrontal cortex. So that's, if you are watching, hey, great, I've got a visual for you. If you're listening, it's the front of your brain. In the video, it's here in blue. So procrastination is linked to the area in blue. It controls our planning, it controls our decision making, and also when we procrastinate, the area in red, aka the limbic system, which is our emotional and the part of our brain that controls instincts, takes over. And what that does is it favors short-term pleasure over long-term gains. Now, we can already see how this can affect our ability to succeed, our ability to make progress towards our personal goals, our professional goals. But the good news is we can train our brain to resist the temptations of the short-term satisfaction. So we need to look at what that looks like. We're going to talk about what it means to overcome procrastination in your personal life first. So if you find yourself putting off household chores, fitness goals, personal development, I want you to try a couple of different strategies. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to just break it down. If something feels overwhelming to you, you're less likely to do it. So if something feels overwhelming, split it into smaller steps. Bite-sized steps. Instead of saying get in shape, just start with hey, I'm going to show up to the gym. I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk. Or, hey, I'm going to X, Y, and Z. Enter whatever actionable step is broken down for you. I want you to try the 5-minute rule. If you've heard of the 5-minute rule, great. If not, it is just committing to working on a task for 5 minutes at a time. Hey, the dishes can take you a long time to do. Putting the clothes away can take you a long time to do. But if you just say to yourself, okay, I'm going to take 5 minutes to get after it, you're going to find yourself continuing beyond that 5 minutes. That's kind of like the habit that I was talking about. The hardest part is just showing up. If you show up to just read one page, you're often going to read 5, 10, 20. Showing up's the hardest part. So committing to the 5-minute rule is going to really help. And this is psychologically backed by research. It suggests that starting a task increases the likelihood of finishing it due to the Zeigarnik effect, which states that incomplete tasks create mental tension that pushes us to complete them. The next strategy I want you to try is just creating a routine. Our brain loves routines. We've talked previously that the brain tries its hardest to conserve calories. So whenever we are trying to do something that isn't a routine, it requires more calories from our brain. Our brains love habits and routines. So I want you to set a specific time each day for you to do important tasks. Is that as soon as you get off of work? Is it waking up 15 minutes early to knock out a couple of things? Find a time for important tasks in your day. I also want you to use rewards. This is the fourth strategy because behavioral studies show that positive reinforcement strengthens habit formation. This should be a no-brainer. We like doing things that we get rewarded for. And when we reward ourselves, it's no different. Give yourself a small reward for completing tasks. If that's a small piece of chocolate, if that's a favorite coffee, a short break, maybe it's watching an episode of your favorite show. Do something that you feel satisfaction from the task that you had just performed. And then the fifth strategy is for you to shift your identity. If you think of yourself as somebody who procrastinates all the time, I used to fall into this, hey, I procrastinate and it's a problem. You need to shift your identity. Because if you identify as somebody who procrastinates, then you're going to continue to procrastinate because you just make excuses for, oh, that's just who I am. I need you to tell yourself that I am someone who takes action. Whether you're watching, whether you're listening, I want you to repeat after me. I am someone who takes action. Shift that identity and watch what happens in your life. We've talked about procrastination in your personal life, but it doesn't just happen there. It also happens within our professional life as well, within our career. So we're going to identify that right now. Because procrastination in the workplace can absolutely kill productivity. It can also delay your career growth, and it even increases stress. We have enough stress in our place of work as it is. So if you're procrastinating, you're not helping yourself. Here's how I want you to fight procrastination professionally. I want you to set clear deadlines for yourself. Even if something doesn't have an official deadline, I want you to create one for yourself, and I want you to hold yourself accountable. Because research shows that whenever we set deadlines for ourselves, it increases tasks or task completion rates. And though they are less effective than externally imposed deadlines, they still improve task completion rates. The second thing is I want you to prioritize effectively. I might get these dates wrong, so you can go and research farther, but back in the 1400s was when the word priority was first used. And it was meant to mean the first foremost thing. It wasn't until maybe the late 1800s, early 1900s, again, I'm a little fuzzy on dates, but it is several centuries later where we have pluralized that. And that is the equivalency to me of giving everyone a participation trophy, right? It devalues the first and foremost thing. So we need to prioritize effectively what is going to be the most important thing. And to help us get there, there's what's called the Eisenhower matrix. A friend introduced this to me actually not too long ago, but it's identifying what is urgent versus what's important. And we need to tackle important but non-urgent tasks before they become urgent. Obviously, you need to tackle urgent tasks, but it's also important for us to tackle important but non-urgent tasks before they get to a point of urgency. And if you're somebody like me, I procrastinate when there are a whole bunch of different distractions around me. So I want you to eliminate distractions. If emails, social media, text messages, or even a coworker distracts you and derails you from the progress that you're making, then you need to block time for deep work without any work interruptions. And to back this up, a study from the University of California found that it takes an average of 23 minutes. That is a significant amount of time. It takes 23 minutes for us to refocus after a distraction. I also want you to use time blocking. This is scheduling specific blocks of time for each task to ensure that you're staying on track. You can think of it as budgeting your day. Hey, I'm going to use this part of my time for this task. You're going to feel a lot more productive. Even if you're doing all of the same things that you typically do, you are going to feel more productive, and that in and of itself is going to create more productivity from you. Then I want you to find your why. This is going to connect the tasks that you're doing with a greater sense of purpose for you and your life. Why is this task important for your career? What's it going to do for your coworkers? What's it going to do for your clients? What's it going to do for your family? What's it going to do for yourself? When you understand the value of the task that you're doing, motivation often follows. I don't believe that motivation is the key driver in a lot of situations. I think self-discipline is a key driver, but motivation is very important, and we can feel a sense of motivation from understanding the value. And then I also want you to apply the 2-minute rule. If a task takes you more than 2 minutes to complete, do it immediately instead of putting it off. So within my 2025 habits and goals, I have a question I ask myself at the bottom. And it's to measure my productivity, my procrastination. That is, hey, is this 5-second task, or in this case, 2-minute task, but is this 5-second task going to save me 5 minutes later? If the answer is yes, I do it immediately, and my future self thanks me for it. It could be rinsing out a dish as soon as I'm done with it before it goes into the dishwasher, whatever is going to save me time later. I do it then. And it also makes it easier for me to get up later because I know that it's going to be a little bit of an easier task later. So make sure that you apply the 2-minute rule or the 5-second rule, whatever it is that you're wanting to call it. And whether you're going to be overcoming procrastination in your personal life or your professional life, it is going to require a mindset shift. And once you can shift your mindset, you are going to absolutely conquer your procrastination. At the end of the day, procrastination is a mindset battle. And here's what you can do to win that battle. First thing is you have to reshift, or you have to reframe tasks as opportunities. Instead of saying, oh, this is something I have to do, say to yourself, hey, I get to do this. I'm able to do this. Then you also need to embrace imperfection. Perfectionism fuels procrastination. This is something I fight hard. I didn't think of myself as a perfectionist until recently, and then now I can't unsee it. And I can promise you that perfectionism fuels procrastination. Having a task complete is better than having a task perfect. Then you can also use visualization to conquer procrastination. Okay, Josh, what the heck does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. If you procrastinate, I don't want you to beat yourself up. Picture yourself completing the task successfully. Studies on mental imagery actually show that if we can picture a task being completed, this increases our motivation to perform the task and also helps us to feel a sense of achievement in completing the goal. Then you do need to practice self-compassion, right? Learn from what you didn't do, or in some cases, what you did do, but maybe not as well as you would have liked, and then move forward from that. Research from Dr. Timothy Peichel suggests that self-forgiveness reduces future procrastination. If you say to yourself, okay, every Sunday I'm going to be putting all of my clothes away, you don't get to it on Sunday. Okay, maybe you get to it on Monday. Well, then you beat yourself up for the rest of the week. I'm had a really slow start to my week. I didn't do what it is that I said that I was going to do, and then that just throws off your entire routine. Practice self-compassion. Get yourself back on track. Keep on going. And then you need to leverage your future self. Ask yourself, how will I feel if I don't do this today? Is that going to make my tomorrow harder? More often than not, the answer is yes. So the tasks that you do today, whether you're motivated to do it or whether you have to practice self-discipline to get it done, your future self is going to thank you for the tasks that you perform today. Small tasks win the race. Now, I told you that if you stuck around to the end, that I was going to be issuing a challenge to you. So here it is. Here's your challenge. I want you to pick one thing that you've been procrastinating. This can be something big. This can be something small, just something that you've been procrastinating. And I want you to take the first step to completing that task within the next 24 hours. Get after it. You can do it. Your future self is going to thank you for the actions that you take today because that's what it takes to win. Whether that's personally, whether that's professionally, get out there, take the first step within the next 24 hours. And once you've done it, I want you to comment in this video, or I want you to post on social media and use the hashtag or the @ TJBS for the Joshua Bridwell Show. TJBS. Once you've done it, tag me because I want to know, and not only that, but I want to celebrate your wins with you. And for the people within the community, let's cheer on the people that are taking action. Let's encourage them to keep going. This is a community of growth, motivation, support, encouragement. And if this episode has resonated with you, I really want you to share it with somebody who can hear it. And if somebody shared this video with you, they are not saying that you're somebody that procrastinates all the time. They may just want you to be aware of the information presented in here in order to keep you from procrastinating in the future because they have felt the benefits of taking action. And your engagement always helps to grow this channel, so please make sure that you subscribe, download, share, comment, like. I'm always looking for ways to improve. So until next time, I want you to take action. I want you to stay intentional. I want you to make progress every day. And this has been another episode of the Joshua Bridwell Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tune in next time. Let's grow.